Well, the great Jeff Greenberg, who's a wonderful casting agent, reached out and cast me, and I don't even think I had to audition for that one. Thank you, Aaron Sorkin. And I just had my second baby, and he said, "Come on, could you come on for an arc on Frasier?" And it was one of my favorite shows, and I said, "Oh, in a New York minute." So I went on. It was a well-oiled machine. I think I went on in its 10th year, and it went to 11, or was it its 11th year? Anyway, it was towards the end of the run.
Oh, 10.
10, and they'd lived on that set. I mean, they were all family, and yet they couldn't have been more welcoming and happy to be there. And they had a wonderful setup, which was, maybe many shows had this, but everyone had their dressing rooms. But then, just like in the theater, there's a green room where everyone came to hang out. And it was sort of before everyone was on their devices. So you had this wonderful green room, and there's David Hyde Pierce and all the great actors in Frasier hanging out and talking. I remember sitting there with Elvis Costello, who was in one of the episodes I did, or any other wonderful guest stars, and everyone's just sitting around. It's just like the theater. I thought, this is just fabulous. And I remember loving the scripts, and I would bring my kid to nurse it, and then I would pump, and everyone was really patient with me. I'd bring I guess she was about a 1.5-year-old. Not, I just had a baby, but I also had a 1.5-year-old, and she would sit on the makeup counter while they did my makeup. And, everyone would look up, and she would have smeared makeup all over, but she was perfectly happy and quiet. I remember being a really nice group of people. I remember Jane turning to me and going, "You know what I love about you?" And I went, "What?" She goes, "You're just not afraid to play a total bitch." And I went, "I didn't know I was a bitch." And I had a great time. I remember, I was playing the financial analyst on the radio. Kelsey directed a lot of them. What a great guy he is. I said earlier he's a prince, but he's a wonderful leader. And I remember him telling me, "Yeah, you're like those guys on the radio that talk about financial stuff." And I was in this baby blur. I had 2 babies in a 1.5 years, and I went, "What?" And I couldn't understand what he meant. And he was like, "Just find it on the radio," one of those financial guys. I didn't even know how to find it on the radio. So I just ignored him and hoped that I'd skim under, and I guess I did. I remember him going, "You're not too camera savvy," which is the first time I realized I wasn't too camera savvy. I think I'm pretty clueless about myself. I don't know I'm a bitch. I don't know I'm not too camera savvy. But I had a great time, and that, oddly enough, I guess everything builds upon everything if you're lucky. A guy named Duncan Tucker came and gave me a movie job, and he said, "Well, I saw you on Frasier." I was doing a play in New York at the time. He came to see the play, and then he saw me on Frasier. They couldn't have been, it was a David Mamet play set in the 50s. It couldn't have been more, the roles disparate. And he cast me in Transamerica. So I'm very grateful for all the work I've had that seems to sometimes lead to my next job.